Waiting for that to load. Welcome to the Sheffield Sunday As Bill Sees It's meeting. This is a main share meeting, and today it is with great pleasure and much gratitude that we welcome Robert J. from West Virginia, who's come to share with us for about 40 minutes, after which we'll open up for general sharing or if you'd like to ask a question. Thank you so much, Robert. It's wonderful to have you here, and the floor is yours.
Sammy, thank you for having this meeting open. I just want to take a moment to pause and say a small prayer, if you'll let me. Please set aside everything I think I know, everything I think I ought to know, and all my expectations. Please quiet my mind and open my heart. Please set aside anything that is blocking me from your power. Please clear away anything that is blocking me from the truth, God, and help me to see the truth. I thank you for this opportunity to be of service. Amen. My name's Robert. I'm a recovered alcoholic. Man, there's a lot of people in this meeting. I didn't know what I was going to be walking into on a Sunday morning. Where to start? How about some credentials? Drank for a really long time, had a whole lot of outside issues and substances because I like to drink. I like to take things that keep me awake so I can keep drinking. So you can take that for what it's worth. I have a sobriety date, of course. It's the day that God struck me sober. I say that because I had no part in that. I had been trying for a real long time. And if I had had the power to do it, I wouldn't be here with you on a Sunday morning. So I was struck sober on April 22nd, 2020, right around the time the world shut down. Really strange time to get sober, but I thank God every day for the fact that He chose that day for me, because it forced me to depend mostly upon Him, which is the primary way that I am able to connect to you. That fundamental idea that resides in all of us is real clear to me today. And the only way that I get to stay connected to God is, at least for this alcoholic, is by being of service to my brothers and sisters, His children. I really don't know what's going to come out of this fellowship that we're about to get into this morning, but bear with me and just know that anything that I say is probably going to be forgotten long after I've said it, not long after I've said it, and I'll do my best to keep my ego out of it and try to keep God in the middle of it. I was flipping through As Bill Sees It, which I don't pick up very often, but I do have. I'm a weird, superstitious person, so I took the date that I was reminded, and then I looked at the date that I was scheduled to speak, and I did variations on that date, 11:30. So I was like, well, what about page 113? What about page 130? And then what about page 133? And then I opened and looked at page 133, and I said, there it is. So privileged people. And before even that, just the idea of gratitude. We're at the end of Gratitude Month here. I don't know if they have Gratitude Month in the UK or elsewhere, but we're at the end of Gratitude Month here. And, I'll soapbox for a moment and kind of go off on a tangent and say that I hear often the phrase, I am grateful. I am grateful. And it's spoken, but I think what's lost is that it's a verb, right? Like there's an action to be taken. We just celebrated Thanksgiving here in the U.S. and I had, goodness, 4 different worlds collide in my house for the first time. And it was really, really scary because I have masks that I like to wear, I'm the big brother to my little sister. I'm the the proud son to my mom. I'm the perfect husband to my in-laws, not my wife, to my in-laws, right? I'm trying to figure it out and just really grateful to have you walking beside me, husband to my wife. And half of the people that showed up, I've made amends to already, right? Because they walked with me when I was not the best person to be walking beside. And bringing all those people into one place, I called my sponsor up and I said, I don't know how to navigate this. I don't know what to do. My wife is Jewish. My in-laws are from deep Southern Virginia, like might as well be Northern North Carolina. And they've got very conservative mindsets and very, very Bible thumping ways and very, very, you know, just different than my mother who's was born in and hasn't really left Washington, D.C. Just different kinds of people coming together around the table. And my sponsor said, oh, yeah, I can see exactly what you're going to do. You're going to be in the kitchen listening to a conversation in the dining room and then going into the dining room trying to control what that conversation looks like. How about you spend the time just being of service? And I said, well, I am being of service. He says, no, I mean actually serving them. Ask them if they need another drink. Ask them if they would like another helping of something. Ask them if they'd like some pie, right? Like just stay in service, because where does my gratitude shine through? It is in the act of helping others, expecting nothing in return. It is very hard for me to be wrapped in self, which is the root of one of my major defects, is that I am constantly riddled with a voice inside my head that tells me things that are not true in my own voice, and it sounds real. And it'll create these scenarios and these constructs that feel real. And only through the power that I access when getting close to God, when I give myself over to the idea and fully, wholeheartedly launch into a moment, whatever that moment is, of wanting nothing but to pour pure love onto someone through my actions, can I truly get free of self? And that was what my experience was for the last 4 days. My in-laws just left yesterday, and not once did I think a single thing that they said or did was wrong. Like, they were perfect. And I'm sure they didn't change. So what changed? Something in me must have. Something in me must have. And it wasn't something I even tried to do. I didn't know this reading was going to be right for today, but it is, because I am incredibly privileged. You know, I used to want to fit in wherever I went, and so I would wear whatever mask was required to gain entry into your circle. And over this past weekend, what I got to experience was the privilege of fitting into every circle with no effort on my part. No effort on my part. Other than to ask God to show me what he would have me be. And then to have very little to no concern over what that was, other than to be it. So I think that's where I'm going to sit. I'm going to stick with this idea of gratitude in action, because it is a verb. You know, some of the people who came for Thanksgiving, they thanked us. They said the food was delicious. They enjoyed the fellowship and the libations and the laughter and the silliness of it all. And then they went on their way, and that was just right. Others asked if they could help wash dishes or take out trash or put something away or pack something up or something. And that to me is the difference between gratitude and thankfulness. If you are thankful, tell the cook the food was delicious. If you are grateful, offer to wash the dishes. And I'm grateful to Alcoholics Anonymous. And not because of the things that I have, not because of the resources that I have access to, not even for the beautiful wife that this program gave me. Look, I'm coming up on 6 years, God willing, in April. I just celebrated my 4th anniversary with my wife. You guys gave me that. And even that is not what I am grateful for. What I'm grateful for is the experience of finally getting access to an answer to a question I didn't even know to ask. Because most of my life I was running around trying to solve something that I didn't even understand. I was trying to find an answer to a question that I didn't have the ability to formulate. And that question was real simple at the end, right? Through some work, through some inventory, through some honesty, through some serious surrender to this power that I call God, the question became revealed at the same time the answer became apparent. And the question was, what's wrong with me? Why do I feel the need to do and be all things to all people at all times, and why am I incapable of doing it? And the truth and reality of it is the answer, I lack power, is way more important than the question. Why is a terrible question for an alcoholic like me, because when I say why, self says, I've got 100 answers for you. Let's sit down and think about them. Me with myself, by myself, thinking about myself. Oh boy, that's like the best movie on the planet. I can get Academy Awards in my head for my thinking. But if selfishness and self-centeredness is the root of my problem, I need access to power to get free from that garden. And let's be clear, it's all full of weeds anyway, right? It's all full of weeds anyway. Gratitude that I had once suffered the pains of alcoholism, gratitude that a miracle recovery had been worked upon me from above. My tragic story is no different than yours. I mean, we can replace some of the characters. We can replace some of the substances, some of the buildings, some of the times of year, right? But this broken toy has value. The brokenness inside me is what makes me so special and valuable to other men and women walking this program. For I certainly can't tell you anything about you. I can only tell you about me. And maybe, just maybe, me telling you about me will speak to the God inside of you so that you might be broken open enough to be struck to a place of absolute willingness and surrender. In the beginning, it was submission. But I find now, still a babe in this thing. Like I'm not special, and I definitely am not Mr. AA. I thought I was in year one. Boy, I was on fire, but I'm getting a little more humility as this journey continues. And what I'm finding is that in the beginning, in that first year or two, I was submitting to the program of Alcoholics Anonymous. I was submitting to the idea that there was a higher power and that it might love me, which is really not convincing, because submission is an act of defiance. You ever watch a UFC match and a guy gets put in a chokehold or in an arm bar? He's submitting out of defiance because he has no other option. He doesn't want to lose his neck. He doesn't want to lose his head. For me, my butt was on fire and everything around me was doused in gasoline. And if I did not submit, I would die. You give me 12, 18, 24 months, my butt's not quite on fire anymore. And that submission becomes arrogance. And I start thinking, I know this thing. I got this thing. I figured this out. Right? Oh, I'm not going to do that nightly review. I'll do it tomorrow. Everything's good right now. I don't need to call Mr. Sponsor, man. I know what he's going to say anyway. Right? Slowly but surely, the ego comes in and my voice in my head starts to sound a whole lot like God, and I've got a better plan than your plan, and all the shiny things around me are more important than getting up on a Sunday morning to be of service to God and my fellows. No, the difference between submission and surrender is that one is an act of defiance and the other is an act of grace. For this alcoholic. And I surrender to God because he loves me. I surrender to God because he loves me so much that I have no choice left in my life. Not that I would even want one, but to love you. Because that's the whole point. The whole point is to put you above me and by proxy to put him above all else. And when I do that, everything turns out exactly as it should. It says here that once suffered the pains of alcoholism, gratitude that a miracle of recovery has been worked upon me from above. Gratitude for the privilege of serving my fellow alcoholics, and gratitude for those fraternal ties which bound me ever closer to them. I'm not a religious man. I know that there is a God, so I don't need to believe, and that's why I choose not to be a religious man. Perhaps someday that will change. I'm open to it, but at this stage of my walk, I simply am not. But if there is a hell, it surely is loneliness. It surely is the absence of God's grace and warmth and love and light. It's not being able to see it or access it or feel it. It's being teased with the idea of it by a warm glow from something external to me. It surely is having known it once or for some time. So much so that it became second nature, that it became common sense, that uncommon thing suddenly felt like part of me, and then one day, noticing that it's gone and not knowing how it happened. If there is a hell, that is what it would feel like for me, I think. And I remember loneliness. But the self has restorative powers. It's not even self, but the tool that is ego, right? Because self has many tools. It's got fear. It's got pity. It's got self-pity. It's got justification. It's got, justified resentment. It's got so many tools. And as the years pass, I learn more and more of its tools. I see them and I'm like, wow, I didn't know that was in the box. But ego, it's just one of its tools. And it's so, so insidious. Because just when I think I've reached a place of having arrested self enough that I can connect to this power and sit in it, I have the kind of ego that will take that spiritual experience and weaponize it. It'll weaponize my attachment to God, because that attachment in and of itself means that I am no longer present in it. How does one stay detached from self? I don't know. I feel like it's a constant effort on my part, and not even a difficult one, but just staying conscious of the fact that there's a whole consciousness inside of me that has an agenda that I'm unaware of. My grand sponsor, my grand sponsor talks about expectation in this way, and I think ego kind of falls in the same vein. Maybe no, self falls in the same vein. My grand sponsor says, having expectations is like walking around with an invisible clipboard full of unwritten demands. I have to give him credit for it. I have no idea where he got it. It's not mine, but I have to be reminded of it. And now, just right now, it just came to me that maybe, just maybe, self is the invisible foreman walking around with that invisible clipboard. It speaks a language in my mind that only the deepest parts of me can hear, and there is no way to remain on guard but to stay close to God. There's no action required here in that way. Because if I'm doing the work in that third step, right, if I'm staying close to him and performing his work well, it's not a thing that I must do. It's a way of life. And it's not even a specific thing that I must do. I don't have to wake up in the morning and say, oh, I have 14 amends to make today, and if I don't get all 14 of them done, then this day will be a failure. Oh, I have to pray this morning, and if I don't pray this morning, then today will be a failure. Right? This is not a list of items that I have to check off so that I get a thing. I spent a lifetime of taking get a thing tasks, right? Get a haircut, get a girlfriend. Lose 5 pounds, keep the girlfriend, right? Smile at this person, get the job. Smile at that person, get into the circle. Live in this neighborhood, get the respect. Like, there was this constant give and take, this endless, unsatisfying, unrelenting urge to get. And 5.5 years into this thing, I'm starting to realize that the business of getting begets nothing but more business of getting. What would happen? What could happen if I just did the simple thing that this book tells us and concentrated on the business of giving? Would all my needs be met? What a revolutionary concept. Completely counterintuitive to my logic, right? Like it doesn't seem like common sense. I need to acquire the love I need. I need to acquire the fellowship that I crave. I need to acquire the friends that I want, that I can tell the things about me that I can tell no one about, knowing that they will love me and accept me that much deeper for my brokenness. When I am locked in resentment, it is because I see in someone else something inside of me that I have yet to truly look at and allow God to remove. That I have yet to get honest about at a deep level to its core. That I have yet to dig out root and branch so that God's light can flow. It's not a bad thing. But am I aware enough to be able to see it and to take the small action necessary to get free from it, to get unblocked? In the giving of myself to you, it makes it really hard for you not to give of yourself to someone else. There's something in the frailty of surrender. There's something powerful in the frailty. And I think maybe it's just one of those different ways that love manifests. I've heard people say that here in AA we don't shoot our wounded. We're all wounded. I believe. I believe that the greatest asset that I have today, 2 years ago I would have told you it was the big book. Today I carry the big book. I carry it in my heart. I carry it in my actions. I carry it most of the time in my words. The mind can get ahead of the mouth sometimes. But I carry it with me. Today I think my greatest asset is the moment. The moment where all of the experiences for just a moment become incredibly valuable to someone else. I've let those experiences from my past torture me and hold me hostage and imprison me and whip upon my back for years. And in this process, I try to give them away. I try to set them on a shelf, and I don't forget them. I don't forget that they happened. I just don't give them power to re-happen. You know, I can have an emotion in the moment, but I don't have to relive it over and over and over again. Much like ego and self can weaponize my spiritual experience to separate me from you, I have now learned how to weaponize my experience. Or maybe better, to de-weaponize it. To turn it into the building materials that someone else might be able to use. They can dust off the muck and the shame and the fear of what my experience looked like. And maybe they can find a cinder block that can be a cornerstone to help them build whatever structure it is that they hopefully, by God's grace, can walk through. To see a little light. And the wonderful thing is that we have limitless material for this. I have limitless experiences that may be excellent building material for one of God's kids, one of my brothers or one of my sisters, and I have no idea when they will be of use or of value to anyone. But what a treasure. All of us have knickknacks somewhere around our houses that we find to be the most important physical thing that we own. It might be a porcelain cat or, a whole collection of pigs in different work uniforms or maybe precious moments dolls. My grandmother loved those. It might be china or it might be that special clear glass that glows in the dark. Or we all have these things that are precious and important to us. And we expect that no one else is really interested in them. We think that our kids will want them when we pass. Oh, my daughter's going to want that. There are other things hidden deep, secret things. Perhaps a letter, perhaps a birthday card or a hand-drawn note. For us here, it is those areas, those deep, dark moments that I think we thought we might die. For me, it's definitely those times where I wished that I would die because my situation had become so intolerable that I couldn't see a way out. I saw you alcoholics laughing and talking about gratitude and talking about service and talking about joy, and it just seemed like such a far-fetched possibility for an alcoholic like me. And my foxhole prayer was, God, I'm going to ask this man to show me what he did. Because I've been coming here for 10 years and nothing's changed, but I'm going to ask this man to show me what he did, God. And if he says no, or if he says yes, and I don't do what he says he's done, then I'm going to die, and I don't want to die. So please help me. I think the real gift of privilege is not knowing. Is not knowing that you have it. I think the real gift of grace is knowing that you don't deserve it. You can't earn it. You can't manufacture it. You can't give it away. It just is. And that all this time it was there. The idea that it was always there. That the freedom was there to be had. That the love was there to be felt. That the joy was there to be experienced. That it was flowing over me the whole time. And I was just blocked off from it. We are a privileged people. Where else is there a connection that speaks directly from the heart, directly to the heart of someone else? Something that can revolutionize whole existences, that can reshape worlds. What kind of power is so gentle that it can do that, if you ask? Do something so massive, but so gently. I don't know what it means, and I don't care. I just know that it is. And my gratitude is an action to be wherever it wants me to be, and to do whatever it wants me to do. Because there's not real words that can be used to feel that. I'm going to end early. I don't have much left to say. I hope that's okay.